Welcome to the OutWork'em Podcast. Today I'm here with Emery Parks from Desert State Roofing out of Carefree in Cave Creek, Arizona. Welcome to the show, Emery.
Thanks, Ryan. It's good to be here.
Nice. I'm your host today, Ryan Kearney with OutWork'em Digital. My wife, Jana, is behind the scenes producing the podcast. And today we're going to have a conversation about the roofing industry, how Emery got started, and how his company is showing up in the community. Allow y'all to know him and find out what Desert State Roofing is all about. So I like to kind of start off, asking how you got involved in this business and when you all got started.
Yeah. I guess me personally, I've kind of been in the trades and manufacturing my entire life. Grew up in the trades. And it's always been a part of my life, whether it's remodeling homes or I recently built the home that I'm currently living in. And so yeah, it's been a kind of a lifelong thing, I guess, in my upbringing until now. How I got into roofing specifically was just kind of happenstance. There was no real like, hey, I want to be into the roofing space, and it just kind of worked out. Got a job with a roofing company here in the valley, and that's how I got my start. And after a couple years of working there, decided that I wanted to go work for myself, and so I joined up with an existing business. Desert State's been around since 2016. Started by a couple guys, so I ended up buying out one of the partners, and we've just been clipping along since then. So
Nice.
yeah, I really
question.
enjoy the home services space and helping homeowners. I feel like there's a real need for just high quality home services.
Mm-hmm.
People that
Yeah.
will say that'll do what they say they're gonna do, that can be trusted, that kind of thing. So I find a lot of joy and day to day just talking to homeowners and helping them solve their problems.
That's awesome. So you said in 2016 is when you bought out one of the partners and joined up with Desert State?
That's when Desert State started, but I
Okay.
came around 2 years ago now,
Awesome.
2023.
And 2023.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned you worked for another company prior. When did that start?
Yeah, so my wife and I moved here from Seattle in 2020. So
Mm-hmm.
I started working for them in 2021, or like the end of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Did a
Yeah.
couple years there and decided that wanted to go work for myself. So
Nice. So when you decided you wanted to work for yourself, you had options. You could start your own thing. You could have inquired about purchasing some other business or, joining up with another group of guys, but you chose Desert State Roofing. Who is Desert State Roofing and why'd you decide to join forces with them?
yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, I would say the reason is the people. So my current partner's, super knowledgeable in the roofing trade. He's been in, I don't know, 15 to 20 years. Has a deep construction background. Um, and the team that they had already created was just kind of humming along, and I saw an opportunity to take it and grow it and do more than what they were currently doing, and provide that service, which I thought was a good, trusted service, good quality service to more people. So, yeah, you can go. I could have gone and started something new by myself, but I think it's with the right partnership, you can ultimately go a little bit further and help more people. Um, if you have a kind of a separation of roles and tasks, and so I wanted to stay in my lane, which is doing the marketing and sales, and I wanted to be able to, have somebody else to take over the production, really own the production side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So finding that person is, can sometimes be tough to do.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had a good person to do that, and so ultimately, a business is just the people that are in it and the
True.
processes that they set up to ensure that you deliver a good product and all that. So, trying to find good people is probably the biggest thing that I care about to make sure we
Mm-hmm.
ensure quality and ensure customer satisfaction, all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. On the OutWork'em podcast, we find it that there's a common thread. People, business owners or businesses are either searching for more good people to help them fulfill quality work, or they have good people in place and they want a little bit more work and they want to get the word out, and they're kind of prepped and prepared for some serious growth. So it sounds like y'all are humming along at a good pace, growing, and your team is able to take care of everything that y'all take on with integrity. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, that's the goal, and it just comes down to good people, putting good
Hmm.
people in those spots. So.
So if someone in the valley bumped into me and they asked if I knew a roofer, and I let them know, yeah, call Emery at Desert State, and they said, who is Desert State? Like, what's Desert State? Like, um, y'all have a like mission statement or values? Like, what would you say is your maybe elevator pitch, or how you describe what makes y'all unique or differentiated amongst all the other roofing companies that are serving your market?
Yeah, I would say it comes back to the people. So it comes back
Mm-hmm.
to the people, and then what their personal values are. Um, what do they care about when it comes to taking care of a homeowner, for example, or a business owner,
Mm-hmm.
a property manager, whatever it is. Um, so the people are really the biggest thing. Like you have high integrity people and less high integrity, less integrity people, right? People with lower integrity. So
Yeah.
um, I think we're a high integrity company. We care about doing the right thing. I tell customers we'll go to the edge of the earth to protect our reputation because that's ultimately what feeds
Mm-hmm.
our family. Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like for me, I've got 5 kids. The oldest is 7, so like I got a pretty young family. I've got a long road ahead of me of working. So if I'm out there
Yeah.
damaging my reputation by doing shoddy work or not taking care of our customers, like I'm not gonna be able to feed my family, going forward. So really try
Mm-hmm.
to take that long term approach of protect our reputation. So it always starts with the owners, like they're the ones that are going to set the tone for the company. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, that's really important is just do the right thing. Like there's so many times I bump into customers, homeowners who have been harmed by some contractor, whether it was a roofer, general contractor, you name it, plumber,
Yeah.
etc. And
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't that doesn't help anybody. It hurts the homeowner, it hurts the company. Like it's just bad all
Yeah.
around. So I think our job is pretty simple. Like it's just do the right thing, do it well, and make sure our customers get what they pay for. Like solve the problem
Mm-hmm.
the right way, make sure they actually get what they pay for. Communicate
Mm-hmm.
well through the process and do good work. Like if you don't do those things,
Yep.
people get hurt. Like it happens literally every day.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the job is pretty easy because that's just who I am. Is somebody that I couldn't feel good about harming a homeowner or a customer of ours. So I would say that's just the difference between us is we're gonna do the right thing and do it well.
Yeah, makes sense. That's awesome. Yeah, the long-term approach is, not everyone's outlook, unfortunately, but I'm right there with you. Your reputation is ultimately what's going to lead to the jobs you get and how your business does in the future.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm always just amazed at how many people get in trouble, get in these tight spots with contractors, and it's really unfortunate. So
Hmm.
we try to help make sure people have a really good experience, and I think our customers do. That's what they say online anyway, is that they're happy with
Hmm.
us. And we kind of deliver on
Yeah.
all the promises that we claim to make. So I'm proud of
Hmm.
that, and it's not just me; it's the guys in the field that they say are delivering on the promises that I make. So I think that
Yeah.
is a good example of what we're aiming to stand for is getting transferred down to the guys in the field actually doing the job. So
Yeah. And with you saying the people that are maybe harmed or wronged by some other circumstance they decided to get involved with in the past, um, kind of I see a parallel in our business and our line of work where we're in this digital realm where you're going up on people's roof. I don't know how many people are even up there to take a look ever or check it out. Um, Kind of reminds me of the digital marketing world. We're serving business owners, and very rarely, oftentimes, are they diving into the back end of their website or their ads and kind of looking at this stuff. And um, I have people that come to me straight away whenever they want to get something done, and then I have people who end up coming to me because they got themselves into a mess or they ended up in a mess and possibly harmed by someone else's work, and then they're coming to me to help right the ship per se. And yeah, it's really surprising to see in my line of work as well some of the stuff that ends up going on, and um, it makes it we're not the people who are just looking to get someone in the boat real quick and give them the price that makes them happy and start cruising, and need to cut corners down the road because it's not a sustainable relationship that we started. So kind of with your line of work, it's in my eyes a little similar because there's not a whole lot of people who know much about the roof or their house in general. With the roof is even out of sight, out of mind, probably even more than some other aspects of the house where people can see it on a regular basis, or like plumbing, they're turning on and off their water, they can feel the water pressure change, or they hear the air conditioner turn off and on and if it's making funny noises. But the roof, it's kind of, I feel like it might be like the sleeping giant of the house per se, and not a lot of people know how to keep an eye out for it or what to look for. So is there anything that you think people ought to know that usually, unfortunately, people don't know? And could you share some of that stuff with us?
yeah, yeah. Ultimately, I mean, like if you put on a new roof and it leaks, like
Hmm.
that's an easy thing to figure out.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I would say there's other things like a couple things that I think homeowners ought to know is like how old is your roof? What type is your roof? When was it last maintained or checked? And what's the maintenance cycle if there is one?
Hmm.
So probably the most common one that we see is that people don't maintain their flat roofs, their flat foam roofs specifically. So foam
Mm.
roofs are
Yeah.
on a good majority of the flat roofs here in Arizona. So you'll get snowbirds
Hmm.
that move here from a different state. They know nothing about the flat roofs. They know nothing about foam roofs. They've never heard of them, and they don't see it. So it's a set it and forget it type deal, just like where they came from. Their shingle roof is
Hmm.
good for 30 years until they can see it falling apart. so they don't really think about it. But um, like the maintenance cycle on foam roofs, the rule of thumb is that you want to wash it, patch it, and recoat it every 5 years. So if you don't do that, the sun will end up burning the foam, and then you'll have to tear it off and replace it, which is obviously a much higher cost. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably the biggest one that I see, is that people just don't know to maintain their flat foam roofs. A
Mm-hmm.
couple other things that I think homeowners could save themselves some hassle from is those beautiful trees that they got next to their house. Like, it's nice to have trees there, but like the wind blows and it starts damaging, knocking tile off the side, or breaking tile or damaging wood or whatever. If a strong wind comes and knocks the branches onto the roof, you can cause damage there.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is broken tiles. So this may seem like a harmless thing. You see a broken tile on your roof, but what ends up happening is the sun will burn a hole in that underlayment.
Mm-hmm.
Within 3 to 6 months, if you have a broken tile and exposed underlayment, the sun's going to burn a
Mm-hmm.
hole in it, and now you've just got a leak spot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Pigeons.
How often should
Oh,
someone have their roof walked? Like, I heard you say maintenance or maintain it every 5 years, but how often should someone be maybe taking a look? Like, for example, we have a flat roof, and I'd say we're spraying it off and, walking up there quarterly. Probably just because we kind of like going up on the roof, but
yeah.
yeah. What what would you say the norm should be for having someone up there taking a look? If it's not the homeowner, maybe them having someone else take a peek.
Yeah, I think like it kind of depends on the situation. Like if there's a roof with a bunch of trees hanging over it and debris building up on the roof every year, like you're gonna want to get up there every year and clean that stuff off. If you have if you have pigeons, I was gonna mention pigeons. Some people feed the pigeons. Pigeons are destructive to roofs. Like the poop is super acidic, can literally burn holes. I've seen it burn holes in shingles, like asphalt shingles. I've seen bird poop burn holes in it. So like, don't feed your
Wow.
pigeons. Keep them off the roof. If you got pigeon problems, like really focus on getting rid of them. There's bees that can get up there and
Mm,
damage the foam. They like to burrow in the foam. Woodpeckers. So like, there's a bunch of different reasons to get up on your foam roof like once a year. Like I would say
yeah.
once a year is a good idea, um,
Hmm.
to help avoid any, or I guess take care of any small issues that have popped up and avoid major issues in the future.
Yeah.
If you don't know if you have a foam roof, because it might be like a rolled roofing or built up
Hmm.
roofing. There's other types of flat roofs as well, but um, foam roofs are the ones that typically see the most amount of damage from birds, bees, debris, other things like that. So
Yeah. What about drones and like checking out the roof using that kind of stuff? Um, is that something that you're hearing homeowners talk about more often? They're doing themselves, or is that something that y'all do at all to take a peek at stuff, maybe more quickly or anything like that?
yeah, drones are. I would say they're a good kind of quick check tool, but like if you don't know what you're
Yep.
looking for, they're
Hmm.
it's going to be a little bit tough to get any like real value out of it. Um,
Hmm.
because drones are obviously pretty limited as far as what you can see when you're looking at a roof. Like an
Yeah.
imperfection might not even be very visible until you're like a couple feet away from it, or 3 feet away, or
Hmm.
walking on it itself. Like it's easy to miss something if
Yeah.
you're not, number one, if you're not, I guess, experienced or have seen a lot of roofs. Like you may see something
Hmm.
and not know it's a problem, but yeah, like a drone could
Yeah.
give you a good quick check, but I don't know if it's not a super thorough way to do it. So we don't really use
Yeah.
drones. I use them for
Hmm.
marketing, but I'd rather go walk the roof and and actually get close up to it.
Yeah, makes sense. Um, yeah, if there's any, I think we might circle back around to the stuff about, I mean, it was actually, we'll stay here. So the things homeowners ought to know. What about things related to protecting their investment in their house? Anything related to health or safety, things like that. I feel like I hear people say both things. I've heard people say like, "Oh, I should have got this fixed years ago. It's costing me," and they throw out a number that they're not happy with, right? And they're like, "I could have saved myself a bunch of money if I would have just dealt with this or maintained it." And then the same thing I've heard people talk about having leaks and then mold in their house and people getting sick and stuff like that. So anything related to health and safety or protecting investment that you could share with us from the
Yeah,
insider be awesome.
yeah, for sure. There's a couple things. Let's start out with like the one relevant thing that's happening now in like the insurance industry is insurance companies are requiring to know like what's your current status of your roof. If you have a flat roof, like when was it last recoated? What's the age of your roof, and they're denying renewals if your roof isn't up to
Mm-hmm.
date, or they're jacking your
Mm-hmm.
rates way up. So
Yeah.
there's people that have kind of been dropped in the process, like dropped because their roof was in bad shape, and then they had to go get the new roof, and then go find a new provider. So there's the potential for some
Mm-hmm.
issues during that time where they're dropped. But I would say insurance is kind of a recent thing. Insurance companies are getting really sticky on roofing. What
Yeah.
make sure that roof is in good shape before we actually insure the home, and it's current. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's up to current date. It's not like 20 years old or whatever. So you're going to save money on your insurance policy and avoid those headaches of being dropped if you keep your roof in good shape, keep it up to date. As far as health things go, I've got it's kind of a wild story to me, but I had this customer who'd been dealing with a health issue for 5 years, and he had spent $65,000 in direct medical expenses related to trying to figure out this health issue.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, somehow somebody said, "Hey, well, what about mold? Like, have you tested your home for mold?" And he didn't. He hadn't at the time, so he got it tested for mold. Turns out there was a lot of mold in the house, and the mold was related to a roof leak. So this
Mm.
guy ended up having to do a bunch of restoration work in his house.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, had to pay the 65K in medical expenses. 5 years of kind of misery trying to figure out what this health issue was, and it was
Yeah.
related to mold in the home in the attic that he was living in. Like
Wow.
I was kind of blown away. Like I'd never heard somebody actually have a serious issue. So like people that are sensitive to mold, like you
Mm-hmm.
really got to make sure that roof is in good shape because there's a
Yeah.
real financial cost on both just the cost of dealing with the healthcare costs or
Mm-hmm.
lower quality of life for a period of time, like if you don't know that this mold is
Yeah.
affecting you. So yeah, it's a real deal. Even here in Arizona, I think it's super easy for people to think like it's so dry here, like
Mm-hmm.
mold doesn't really grow or whatever their thoughts are. But yeah,
Yeah.
this guy had a real situation here in Phoenix where
I
it
can
cost a ton of money.
yeah, I threw out the example of mold because my wife, it wasn't from a roofing issue, but we 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 were in a duplex, and the part that we rented, there was a problem happened one day. We woke up, this went in the spare bedroom. We had it set up as like our exercise yoga room, and it was wet. I laid folded some towels and laid them there, and I went to pick them up and move them. Water soaked up into these towels that were on the ground. I look, the wall, so the water was coming out from the wall. I was like, oh wow. So we didn't think anything of it. We let the landlord know. He had his guy come in, took care of it, dried everything up. We left for the holidays. Um, Came back. 6 weeks later. It was, Thanksgiving, Christmas, came back, and it almost smelled like ammonia or something. It smelled kind of weird. So we were like, oh, what's going on here? And so much mold had grown, I guess it was like off gassing. So like that was something where it was like really apparent. But when the mold restoration company came through to check it out, they said there's probably already mold going on before that water came, and that water gave it a chance to like flourish and grow really aggressively around the bathroom walls. And they said that because Arizona gets so hot that there's so much that goes into keeping the cool air inside when people cool it, that there's less ventilation, and that Arizona actually has a lot of mold that happens from people who get a leak in their roof because that water comes down in, and then they said everything's designed to be tight, airtight for keeping the house cool. They said it's actually more common here than a lot of places where people are opening up the windows and it's not made that way. So that was her spiel. But my wife also, we spent considerable amount of money on the health issue, and you know now we've communicated that to our family when they're dealing with health stuff. So I'm like, hey, get your roof checked, see if you have any leaks, get the house checked for mold before you go spend all this money at the doctor's office. And there's been a couple people who have got it checked out and like, oh yeah, actually I had something to take care of. I'm glad I got on it now because it wasn't that bad. So have you had much that come your way with the mold besides that one story? Or do you come across it when you're walking and find a leak and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, it always ranges, but yeah, like the I would say most leaks there's some amount of mold growing on the plywood
Mm-hmm.
where it's been leaking, and a lot of times, like it's been leaking for a long time, and the homeowner just notices the leak. So I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
couple. To me, it's wild. Again, like I've gone to a couple houses where they just noticed the leak inside, and I go on the roof, and
Mm-hmm.
I could have shoved a basketball through the plywood in the roof. Like there was that big of a
Wow.
hole. So this thing had
Mm-hmm.
been leaking and rotting for years, and they
Mm-hmm.
just noticed it. But it was in like a spare bedroom. So in one of the cases, or actually in both of the cases, they had to tear out the drywall on both sides of the wall. One of the
Yeah.
cases, they had to tear out the stucco on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get rid of all the mold, like fully remediate the situation. But
Yeah.
like I just don't know how that happens. Where you have this giant hole in your roof, and it's because the plywood had completely rotted through.
Yeah.
And they just noticed the leak today. So like it's actually really common for us on most tile roof projects that we do. The homeowner calls because they know of one leak, and when we
Mm-hmm.
go to replace the roof, we'll replace anywhere from like 1 to 5 sheets of plywood that are already they're rotting. The water's just
Oh wow.
not getting all the way into
Mm-hmm.
the house. So it's
Yeah.
really common to replace. You know, one to
Mm-hmm.
three. It's probably less common to get up to five, but I guess what that tells me is that the roof is always leaking, or it's usually leaking before they notice a leak.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just
Makes sense.
sometimes it's in a wall and it doesn't show up inside or whatever. But yeah, there's some serious costs to, I guess, yeah, either restoration, the health implications
Mm-hmm.
of avoiding or neglecting your roof. So
Yeah.
um,
What about what about people preparing their house to sell or when they're buying a new house? Is that something that ties into the investment of that? Can maybe increase the value of the house before you sell it, or have it inspected, stuff like that.
yeah, for sure. Um, So we do a decent amount of that. Like at the transaction, we'll do roof work, and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, what ends up happening is like if you're selling a house with an old roof on it, there's a really good chance that the buyer's going to come in and they're going to negotiate um, more than the cost of the roof. Like they
Mm-hmm.
might get they might try to find like the highest cost that they can find to get the roof replaced, and then they'll negotiate. And obviously that just
Yeah.
makes the process a little bit longer, a little bit more annoying. So if you're selling a home, if I was selling a home, I would just make sure the roof is in fantastic shape because it's always one of the things that they negotiate. I just wouldn't want that to be
Hmm.
a point of negotiation. It's just going to slow
Yeah.
the process down, make it a little bit more frustrating. But yeah, we see
Hmm.
that all the time.
Yeah.
Buyers and sellers
In
over the roof.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You cut out there for a sec. Say that again.
We see that all the time where buyers and sellers are bickering over the roof. You know, at a
Mm. Yeah. You got to come in and make them play nice. The next thing I wanted to ask you about was, you know, Cave Creek, carefree area. Very community oriented. Lots of people know each other. Lots of businesses are supporting one another, referring each other work, stuff like that. How do y'all show up in the community to be a part of that?
Yeah, so we're located actually in Cave Creek. Cave Creek and Carefree are kind of two small communities right next to each other.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of the yeah, like you said, a lot of the locals they want to support local businesses. So one way that we get involved in the business environment there is we support the Chamber of Commerce. So it's the Cave Creek Carefree Chamber of Commerce. Um, so we sponsor events there. We show up to events. I'm actually one of the ambassadors there, which just means that we meet and try to work on improve. We meet regularly and try to work on improving the experience for the people, improving engagement, that
Hmm.
kind of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're actually sponsoring the breakfast tomorrow morning, so I'll be doing a little presentation there about who we are. But yeah, the breakfast is like the biggest event there. Uh, 70 to 100 people, the last Thursday of every month. So, and it's a lot of local businesses. So I try to be really involved in the chamber. Um, there's like the local rodeo, the Cave Creek Rodeo is a big
Hmm.
annual event. So we sponsor that.
Yeah.
They do a parade. We have a float in the parade, and that's always a fun event for everybody. Um, and it's also like a community event. So those
Hmm.
are two of the things in the community that we've done. There's a third one, which is this thing called community partners, and what we do is we are just community partners with these local nonprofits. So like the
Hmm.
Foothills Food Bank, the Caring Corps, the there's another one. There's like eight of them. The Hollins Center. But anyhow, there's a bunch of these nonprofits, and basically, the goal there is to create bonds with these different nonprofits and help them
Hmm.
with what they need help with, and they help you in return. So
Yeah.
it's a good way to get to know again all the community nonprofits. And a lot of these nonprofits, like if you don't know about them or hear about them specifically, like you just don't see them, but they're out there doing phenomenal things for the community. Like the food bank is serving, it's giving away a couple million pounds of food a year. The
Yeah.
Caring Corps is it's providing rides for these people that are aging in place in the community. So it's really,
Hmm.
really, really phenomenal services. Um,
Yeah. I
all
saw
done
your
through
post
nonprofit,
about the
which is amazing.
Yeah. I saw your post from the food bank and I can't remember the number because my reading comprehension needs a little work, I guess, but I was blown away by the number of meals that it said they served. I want to say it was over a million something meals.
Yeah, the
Part of me
number
wants to pull it up.
I forget the
2024, you
exact
gave the number for 2024.
I forget the exact numbers, but I think last year they gave away like 1.8 million pounds of food.
Okay.
If I Again, I'm probably stepping out on a limb here, but
Yeah, check out Desert State Roofing's Instagram. Check out the food bank post. You could learn about the groovy work they're doing, how they're showing up in the community. Put a smile on my face. Love seeing stuff like that. And then just to shine the light on the other one, I don't want to overshadow them. You were mentioning the Cares, who gives rides to the elderly.
Caring Corpse.
Caring Corpse.
Yeah, the Foothills Caring Corpse.
Uh,
And yeah, what they do is their main thing is just giving rides to
mhm.
community, what they call neighbors that are aging in place. So if you have to go to a doctor's appointment and you can't drive or a family member can't bring you, they have they'll provide a ride for you. If you have to go to the
Nice.
airport, whatever it is, like, but it's an essential service really for the carefree Cave Creek neighborhoods.
Hmm.
'Cause there's a lot of people that are older, they're aging, but they
Hmm.
want to stay in their home. They don't want to go
Yeah.
to an assisted living or whatever it is. So
Yeah. Makes
it's an
sense.
essential service. It's super cool to see that kind of stuff. And there's a bunch of others. I don't want to just forget the others, but those are like some recent ones that I think probably just fly under the radar that people don't really notice. But
Yeah. So in the Cave Creek Carefree Chamber of Commerce, these nonprofits are probably working with the chamber as well. And if people want to learn more, they could look there.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, or just
Nice.
go to their website or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of neat nonprofit services that are out there that you don't really know about until you start diving into the community and learning about them.
Hmm. Yeah, true that. And the next topic I wanted to touch on is who should hire Desert State Roofing. I was on y'all website and I see residential, commercial. You do repair, replacement. You serve property management companies, commercial buildings, things like that. So wanted to ask just in particular, um, maybe it's just me, but I have people used to ask me like, "Oh, who do you like to work with?" And I would say reasonable people that have good common sense. I want to work with them forever, not just one time. So I would always lead with that. And with the roofing business, I'd say the roof's going to be on someone's house for 20, 30 years, maybe being maintained every 5 years or so. So most established businesses, they're putting effort into attracting the people they want to work with, but they're also putting a similar amount of work into making sure the wrong people don't hire them so they don't get themselves involved in a relationship they don't want to be in. So I feel like this could always be a fun question to answer. Who should hire your company, Desert State Roofing?
Yeah. Well, I would say people who want to work with a high integrity company that's going to make the whole process easy. People who want to get what they pay for. People who want
Hmm.
a high quality roof that if it does, let's say it does have an issue, is going to be taken care of, like no questions asked. No questions asked.
Hmm.
People that just don't want to, I guess, risk it with trusting somebody to, they're paying a good amount of money. There's people that, want to save a couple bucks, and so they might go with the cheapest person and they end up getting burnt. So people that don't
Yeah.
want to get burnt, like there's some people that
Hmm.
have been through that. They've been burnt and they're like, I don't want to do that again. And then there's people who
Hmm.
haven't been through that and they don't really know that that's a
Hmm.
possibility. They extend their trust to whoever they're hiring and they end up getting burnt. So say people that just don't want to deal with headaches and hassles and problems and fighting to get what they pay for, um,
Yeah.
and just want a good quality job done. Like it should be a smooth, simple process, and we try to make it that
Hmm.
way. So, but some people are willing to, I guess, take the chance and
Roll the dice.
roll the dice, and that's fine. It's just,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, even thinking about it as a consumer over here, I feel like maybe I can roll the dice with buying television or something I can see and, replace easily or get swapped out in a reasonable fashion. Um, but my roof, I don't want it to be there for a while. Probably not rolling the dice on that one. But yeah, everyone's a little different. So if you want to roll the dice, that's on you. But if you want it done right, hit up Desert State, hit up Emery. They're gonna get you taken care of. Probably ask some other people in the community about their work, and you can find out from them as well. Um, Next up here is the closing out the podcast here. We got a lightning round of questions, so definitely don't want to cut you off at all, but these are designed to kind of be zingers. It'll be yeah, we'll dive in here. The first one is one piece of advice or something you've learned that changed how you approach business.
Hmm. I would say it's just do the right thing. Like always,
Yeah.
always do the right thing.
Why are you making it so complicated? That's
Even if it hurts
uh
you, I would add on to that.
yeah,
Even if it makes your life more difficult, like always do the right thing.
yeah. Yeah, it's easy to do the right thing when it makes everyone's life easier, right? But you're right, it is something that will pop up from time to time where doing the right thing is gonna, you know, make the circumstance better for everyone, but maybe a little bit more painful or cause you a little bit more hassle. I'm with you there. Next question up there. Favorite part of your morning when you start your day?
Ooh, favorite part of my morning is probably just getting outside, like getting outside early in the morning. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, seeing that sun,
Mm-hmm.
like being outside is one thing I really enjoy doing, and seems like that morning sun is always like it just feels good to get outside. And if
Yeah,
you're working out,
especially
it's
this
even
time of
better.
year.
If you're working out, going on a run, that
Mm-hmm.
even makes it a lot better to go on a run outside in the morning. So,
Nice. Um, what tool would you not be able to go a day without to run your business?
there's a couple: cell phone, truck, CRM.
Okay. All right. I'll let you go with three. There you go. Two extra. um, the most valuable lesson you learned the hard way.
What's Um, I don't know, Ryan. I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way, but
All good. Maybe we'll go back to that one on episode 2
yeah.
some other time. Um, and then favorite favorite business thought leader or book that you've come across the last 5-10 years.
It's probably Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Cool. All right. And then I'm gonna pass it back to you for closing us out. Is there anything you were hoping to speak to today, or we didn't touch on yet that you wanted to make sure the listeners hear?
No, I think we covered it all. I think you did a good job of covering everything we needed to cover there. I would say
Mm-hmm.
if you want to follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Desert State Roofing, we try to put up educational content to give
Mm-hmm.
people, help them get ahead of any roof issues that they might have. So, as a
Mm-hmm.
homeowner, my goal is to make that a platform where you can, become educated and avoid potential headaches in the future.
Awesome. So in the show notes, it'll be real easy to find their Instagram. There'll also be linked to Desert State Roofing website where you'll be able to find contact information. You already kind of started to go down my outro here, so thanks for making my role easy. You plug in the Instagram there. But if someone wanted to get in touch with you, let's say maybe they're just like, oh yeah, you already mentioned you're taking care of sales and marketing at your company. If someone wanted to have a conversation with you about doing business together, maybe helping out with one of the causes in the community that you're attached to, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you personally?
Just give me a call. My
All
phone
right.
number is on our website. So
All right. So you'll be able to find his phone number on the website, Instagram, and all that will be in the show notes. So Cave Creek Carefree. You got Emery taking care of y'all. Desert State Roofing. If you haven't heard about them yet, you're hearing about them now. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for listening to the OutWork'em Podcast. And Emery, thank you for your time today and coming on the show.
yeah, thank you, Ryan.